So the topic for this presentation is Indo-US relations, and it is being presented by Manisha Bist, who is preparing for her SSB of Indian Army through CDS direct entry, non-technical. Start, Manisha.
Jai Hind everyone. So we are going to discuss the relationship between the world's largest democracy, that is India, and the world's oldest democracy, that is USA. So we have witnessed a number of top leaders visits in quick succession in the recent year. So the relationship has transitioned from sanctions to state visits. The state visits, it considered in USA a high profile visit. So the Prime Minister Narendra Modi has gotten the opportunity, and we'll discuss the type of partnership and what has USA to give in, and what India has to take in, and what India has to offer to USA. So as we all know that in today's world of cooperation, two countries needs to two countries needs to have diplomatic relations. But the relation between the two countries, USA and India, is quite important because we both have cultural diversity in our society, and also we have same principles of democracy and liberalization. So in the presentation we'll be discussing the significance of India-US relations, and by the end of the presentation we will be able to answer the different types of diplomatic engagement, bilateral relation between the two nations, and the defense deals and the various military exercises. So let's start from the inception of independence of India. India was a sovereign country, and it took a position of sovereign country, and later after some times we witnessed a condition of bipolarity in the world, where USSR and USA was in Cold War, and India had to take a step. India has to take a stance, because the then president of USA said the country which is not with USA is against USA. And at that time Jawaharlal Nehru, the late Prime Minister of India, said that they will follow the policy of non-alignment, and that is why India chose to remain indifferent of the world bipolarity and be the voice for the peaceful and harmony. So it was the Cold War, and we got more friendly with Russia. Russia invested in India in various hydrological dams and projects. It invested in Indian country, and it also enhanced its expenditure and transfer of technology in the defense sector. So Russia is known to be a time-tested friend, and then comes Kargil War. So during the Kargil War, we approached USA for the GPS access, but it denied. So now we are going to discuss why is now USA is interested in partnership with India. So we have, as I told you about that, we had initial distant relationships, also because USA was investing in Pakistan and was supporting Pakistan until Kargil War happened, and USA got to know that the Pakistan was the country that was triggering the sovereignty of India. So there were tensions. It was Cold War dynamic. So these points have been discussed. Now, as I told you that our relationships have gone from sanctions to state visits. So when we tested nuclear tests, we conducted 2 tests in 1974 and 1998. USA was against it, and it sanctioned India. But later, post 2000 year, we saw that USA came in agreement with India in civil nuclear agreement. It was to a capacity building program between both of the countries for their nuclear empowermentship. So we are in the continuous evolution in this relationship, and the both countries follow the principle of democracy. We have pluralism. We grant our citizens the freedom of speech. We have rule of law, and USA and India are also take a stance for rule-based orders of the world, and we guarantee people the human rights. So these are our cultural values, and both the countries are secular in nature. Education and innovation, we are investing into it, and both the countries are party to different agreements. For example, Paris Agreement of climate change. So both have the same orientation, and so these are the points like cultural exchange. Both have the same approach. Now, what are the common interests in India and USA? Countering terrorism. There are lots of, both countries has faced the terrorism attacks, 9/11, 26/11, and we are at the same page while it comes to declaring terrorist groups to Jaish-e-Mohammed, Lashkar-e-Toiba, and other terrorist groups. So we work for regional stability, and we have also signed various economic partnership. There are lots of companies, for example, Reliance and GAIL, that are investing in clean fuel energy in USA, and USA is also transferring the technology on the clean fuel sector. So we also have a strategic partnership. We'll be discussing later about the various defense corporations. So there is health. During COVID-19, we saw the collaboration of the world, and USA was also part of it. So in cyber security, we are together, and space exploration. So as I told you earlier that there was a GPS rejection when we asked about the accessibility for convenience and during Kargil war. Now we are seeing the collaboration of NASA and Indian Space Organization, that is ISRO. So the relationship is evolving, and talking of trade, until 2008, we had near negligible, like $1 billion trade of defense cooperation. But now it has risen to over 160 billion. So we are seeing growth in Indian and US trade system. And talking of the defense cooperation, India, as we all know that India is dependent on exporting the defense equipment from across the country, and for a long period of time Russia was its main importer. But as we all know that Russia is preoccupied in Ukraine and has failed in delivering of S-400 missile system. So this is, some countries also consider that USA is using India, but it is not the same, because as we have discussed that India and USA relationship is based on its cultural and social values. So we are now, India is trying to diversify its sources of defense procurement. So India is heavily India has started trade of technology transfer. If we talk about this MQ-9 PB drone system, India has made an agreement of procuring 30 armed drone systems from USA, and the other arm deal is about the procurement of engines that are to be installed in Tejas. So the USA is trying to support India in its Make in India drive and reciprocal defense procurement system, the company of General Electric is transferring the technology to Hindustan Aeronautic Limited, and that will produce the defense equipment and the jet system of Tejas aircraft. So we also have the joint military exercises. We talk about Yuddha Vyas that was conducted in last Oli in Uttarakhand, and also we have Tiger Trump, the Indian Navy, Army and Indian Air Force joint military exercises. So we also have exercise Malabar that USA and India conducts, and so this was the engine system we were talking about, and this is the drone system, armed drone system that India is likely to receive in coming years. And we also have this Indus SX initiative, in which the Bar Council is preparing to launch the initiative, and it will foster the cutting edge technology cooperation between US and the Indian companies. And later we have, recently we saw the 2+2 dialogue. The 2+2 dialogue consists of the meeting of high profile leaders. First is the defense minister, and the second is the foreign minister. So the both are meeting their counterparts, NSA secretariat and the secretariat of state. So both countries are having the same foreign policies, working on same foreign policy and defense deals. So if we talk about the international corporations, there are various international corporations in which USA and India's are member. These are UN, G20. It is wrongly written because India is not the member of this, ASEAN, and International Monetary Fund and World Bank and World Trade Organization. And both countries works on the principle of the respective organizations. Now the US welcomed India joining UN Security Council in 2021 for 2 years term, and supported a uniform in UNSC that includes India as a permanent member. And it is doing so because US is also pushing India to and also influencing other countries to recognize India in its rightful position. And together with Australia and Japan, the United States and India convened as a Quad to promote the free and open Indo-Pacific and provide tangible benefits to the region. It is also in line with countering the hegemonic influence of China and making the principle of free trade in the Indo-Pacific region. So India is also the member of IPEF, that is called Indo-Pacific Economic Framework and Prosperity. It is for effective collaboration and cooperation among the nations. And India is also the member of Indian Ocean Rim Association, at which United Nations is a dialogue partner. So it is also the organization for collaboration and effective trade and cooperation between the countries that are surrounded with the Indian Ocean. And so now what are the historic agreements? So as it was earlier discussed, the civil nuclear agreement. The second one is defense technology and trade initiative. It is for the co-production of defense equipment. And the third one is logistics exchange memorandum of agreement. The agreement mainly focus on the logistical projects, and that includes refueling and replenishment between the Indian and the US military forces. So the third one is of importance, that is communication, compatibility and security agreement. It is for the data sharing between both the countries in the defense sectors. And the fifth one is Industrial Security Annex 2019. It facilitates the exchange of classified military information and cooperation between the defense industries of both countries, as we discussed about, like HAL and the General Electric Company of USA. And the sixth one is Basic Exchange and Cooperation Agreement for Geospatial Cooperation. This is also known as BICA, and it is of significance because with this agreement, India will have the access of data accessibility, which can be used in military during war times, and India will be able to have high security data. If you talk about during wartime, we could be able to locate when the what is happening, and through the real time data accessibility. So the next one is Global Entry Program. This allows to expedite clearance for pre-approved and low-risk travelers between India and the US. And the next is Clean Energy and Climate Partnership, that aims to promote cooperation on clean energy, climate change mitigation and technology transfer. As we all know that the countries like the world is divided into two parts, the north countries and the south countries. And the south countries are generally known to have the not clean technologies. For example, we are producing paper and the US is producing paper. They will have the technology that will produce papers with less emission, and they will also have the eco-friendly source of energy. But India does not have. So here US can help India in transferring the clean energy technology. So these historic agreements represent significant milestones in India-US relationship that will foster collaboration in various sectors, including defense, energy and technology. So the recent developments are Quad Summit, as we already discussed. The next one is vaccine diplomacy. Both countries collaborated, and means a lot of countries collaborated, but USA was also part of it. And climate cooperation, defense and security. We discussed the BICA, COMCASA and other agreements. So as we all know that the Biden-Harris administration, Kamala Harris of Indian origin, so after they came into politics, the H-1B visa was rescinded, and and the Indians who are working there get the visa. So coming on to the conclusion part, the relationship and the partnership is evolving, and as is considered that there are no permanent friends and enemies in geopolitics. So we are there to take on the effective partnership between the US and India. Thank you.
So it was a wonderful presentation by Manisha. Any questions, guys? Anyone? Any questions? Starting with Abhishek. Yes, Abhishek.
Ma'am, in future, in your opinion, like what do you think that who will be the best ally of India, USA or Russia?
Well, India as a country cannot choose and depend on the other nation for its national security. But India will approach and make friendly relations with every country. So the first approach will be to have diplomatic relations with its neighbors and with also the other countries. So if you talk about who will be the better, what was your question? Friend.
Better friend. Better friend in the future.
Russia or
USA.
USA. So historically, we've known that Russia has been a time-tested friend. So and it is an all-weather friend. And USA, we can trust on USA. So we can see that both will be the will support India. Neither of them will be antagonistic to India.
But don't you think that in China's stand, Russia will take a neutral stand if we will have?
It will take a neutral stand, but India will not expect it to come as we have not taken a stand in Russia-Ukraine war. So how can we expect that?
Yeah, that time USA can help us na, take a part
Yes,
of our.
yes. USA can help, but we cannot depend that USA will help, and it will be the choice of USA. As you can see that India is making itself defense independent by spending on Make in Indias and making the defense equipment in India also. So the first priority will be to be sufficient in equipment and
Fine.
defense sector.
So, Pragya.
So as trade is very important for the diplomatic relations, but India and USA have not signed the FTA with them. So what are the recent developments that India and USA are taking into account in order to enhance the relations of the economy and enhance the FTA, allow the FTA and FTA?
So India and USA are not the part of common bloc that they have signed an FTA. But that as I said earlier, the relationship is evolving. So we are hopeful that they will sign FTA and cooperate.
Like it happens, right? In many countries, we do not have FTA, and after FTA signing, the trade becomes manifold increases.
Yes.
The bilateral trade between both the countries is 190 billion.
Yes.
So even we have, is it India at the trade deficit side, is it India at loss, or it is at profit side when it comes to bilateral trade?
It is in the trade deficit. If we talk about the trade, it is one of the challenge that both the countries have to work on. So there will be agreement, and the trade will obviously increase, because we are seeing various challenges. If we see in food security, the world is in war, as we are seeing the Israel and Palestine, and Russia and Ukraine. So definitely the world order will change.
I think, as I studied about the other years, that I find out that US is only with helping or trying to help India just because they want to tackle China. And I think after that, he has his enough perspective. He has enough motive. That's why US is supporting India. other than this, I don't think that any other reason that US also trying to make collaboration, India also, because US is a country, is that country which doesn't want to grow anybody, because that's why we can see in as Pakistan, he is also supposed Pakistan until now. In previous wars, he supported Pakistan. So, what do you think that I'm wrong in it?
Actually, there are lots of countries that consider this relationship with a pinch of salt, but every time USA supports India, if you talk about the UNSC membership also. So even if it is using India for countering the China, why would it push India for the defense production? Both countries are militarily engaged, and it is also recognizing its rightful position in the world order. And it is also we cannot say that, because India as a sovereign country is free to take its decisions, and it is in no compulsion that it has to only partner with USA.
Okay, but I see that only if you can see that on Bilateral, like 640 units, US doesn't support India. And even we can see this, he has motivated, he does defense cooperation, and also in many times it happened, the US doesn't come in the support of India. Just as we can see that there is a Canada issue.
There is a
Canada,
Okay.
India issue with Canada, and US was not supporting. He has neutral in stance, and even he was tilted towards the Canada. So I think this was the reason.
So India respects every country's sovereignty. It has a history of not forcing any country to take its stand or to be in alliance with it. And if we talk about, if you say that USA has a vested interest in countering China, we also want to be in the we also want to diversify our trade. India and China trade are also at very high level. So we both have common interests. We also have voice for democracy and transparency. If you see the China is a communist country, and therefore we are working for a common interest. We are working in the Indo-Pacific region. We have Quad. So you cannot say that only USA has to counter China. India also have the common interest, and if their objectives are going in that way, so it will be a double edge. So it wouldn't be we don't have only one perspective in our mind to counter China, and that is why we are coming into the partnership. We have more than that.
So there could be any threat for India towards
No.
the side of US?
There wouldn't be any threat, because we are in the formal cooperation of defense procurement and making ourselves more dependent and technologically empowered. So that will only make the country more secure, and it wouldn't be any challenging thing.
Yes,
I have one question. As you mentioned about the President Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, that she is of Indian origin. So, do we have any edge, personal edge, or any advantage that the leaders of foreign countries are of Indian origin? So, is there any profit for Indian side or any advantage?
So obviously the post they are designated for, they work as per their responsibilities, but they become more responsible for the Indian diaspora that live in USA, and also they become the inspiration of acceptability, that how much a country like USA can accept, and the other emigrants, and it is a source of inspiration and also the cultural assimilation in the country. So it's a more of inspiring to Indian youths, and so that's it.
Yes, anyone? So fine. It was wonderful.